accused of fresh aggression in the South China Sea, this time by an influential American think tank, the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Let's now get more from RT's Emily Sue. Hi there, Emily. Well, give us more details on this dispute.
Well, Marina, if we take a look at the screen behind us, this may just looks like a bunch of boring rocks and reefs in the middle of the sea, but they're actually located in one of the next potential global flashpoints of conflict. The Spratly Island chains located in the South China Sea are claimed by China, Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Taiwan. And the reason why everybody wants their slice is because this region is very rich in resources. It's also one of the busiest shipping routes in the world. Every day, over 10 million barrels of oil are being transported across the sea. And that is the reason why the territorial disputes here has led to an ongoing war of words between some of the world's biggest powers.
Provocative and destabilizing act which would automatically raise tensions.
We don't stir up trouble, but we're not afraid of trouble. China will not swallow a bitter pill and will never allow our sovereignty and secure rights to be infringed.
The South China Sea dispute worsened over the past 2 months after an international court at The Hague rejected China's territorial claims in the South China Sea and ruled in favor of the Philippines. Now, this looks like a dispute between China and the Philippines, but the country that's really pulling the strings behind the scenes is miles and miles and miles away, the United States. Not only is the U.S. a treaty ally with the Philippines, it has long stressed on the importance to maintain a military presence in the region as part of its pivot to Asia strategy.
It is a legally binding tribunal decision, and our expectation was before it was made and is now after it's made that all claimants are going to abide by it.
The United States has deployed 3 B-2 stealth bombers to Guam to ensure full combat readiness in the region. This as tensions simmer following Pyongyang's recent ballistic missile launches. U.S. Strategic Command says the nuclear-capable bombers will conduct local and regional training sorties and integrate capabilities with key regional partners, including South Korea and Japan. An official said the deployment was part of Washington's commitment to supporting global and regional security.
A mystery in Florida is confounding health officials trying to contain the mosquito-borne Zika virus. The infected pregnant woman who set off the scare in the state has no clear connection to the square-mile area of Windward, north of downtown Miami, which officials have identified as a Zika flashpoint, and has not had sexual contact with anyone likely to be infected.
Within one day, the number of people affected by Zika has increased in Miami-Dade County of Florida. On Tuesday, Florida Governor Rick Scott reported that there has been 4 new transmitted cases within the Miami area. During a press conference in Live Oak, Florida Governor Scott said that all 4 cases are located in the same small area of Wynwood that is less than 1 square mile. This brings the total number of people with locally transmitted Zika to 21.
Craig, now to a CBS 4 News Health Alert. And tonight, the health department confirms 4 new non-travel related cases of the Zika virus right here in South Florida. Doctors believe all of them came from the so-called hot zone in Wynwood.
A hospital on the front line of the struggle with Zika. Symptoms of the virus are mild: rashes, itching, and weakness. But for unborn children, this particular strain can mean far worse: microcephaly, a defect in which the brain does not develop properly. In recent months, 12 babies have been born with microcephaly here at the Agostinho Net Hospital in the capital Praia. 2 others have been born elsewhere on the islands.
At least 13 people have reportedly died in the airstrikes. Fighting in Yemen has intensified since UN-sponsored peace talks between Houthi militants and Yemen's internationally recognized government ended on Saturday. The UN says more than 6,400 people, mostly civilians, have been killed in Yemen since Saudi Arabia's coalition air campaign began last March. Militants in Afghanistan have launched coordinated attacks on 2 districts in provinces in the north and west of the country. The militant group attacked northern Baghlan province, triggering a gun battle. In a second attack in Paktia in the east, at least 3 civilians were killed.
Another developing story tonight. A hospital in Maryland has moved its newborns in critical care to other hospitals after a potentially deadly bacteria was discovered. And the hospital is looking into whether the deaths of 2 infants could be connected. NBC's Pete Williams has late details.
All 9 infants in a neonatal intensive care unit at Prince George's Hospital Center in suburban Washington, D.C. have been moved to other hospitals after the discovery of bacteria that can be deadly for fragile newborns. A hospital official says 2 infants in the unit recently died.
There's been no clear cause of death that's been related to the infection itself.
The hospital says 3 of its 9 current infant patients tested positive for the bacteria, but that none of them showed symptoms of infection.
I thought in my head about how, if you punished them or if you made them more manly or if you didn't allow this, I tried them all.
For 2 years, Kimberly Shapley fought for her son to stay her son.
I did a lot of damage to this child trying to force her into this box of being less feminine, less flamboyant.
But now,
I'm a mom of a little girl that I would like to see live.
She's fighting for her now 5-year-old transgender daughter, Kai, to be treated like a girl.
Someone has been shooting at cars in San Jose. Tonight, police are asking for your help catching the bad guy. All the shootings happen along this stretch of Blossom Hill Road. That's where KPIX5's Betty Yu is tonight.
All of the new cases happened after midnight in the last month, bringing the total number of cars shot over the last 3 months to 10. 6 more cars along this stretch of Blossom Hill Road have been targeted by a mysterious shooter. The most recent shooting happened Friday. In this latest string of crime, none of the drivers were hurt, but all the cars were hit by a single bullet.
Fear, for my family and other people, pedestrians, you can get into a car accident, you have kids in the car, anything can happen, you know what I mean?
San Jose police first told us about 4 cases last month. 1 person was grazed by a bullet, another hurt by broken glass.
I think it's pretty safe in this area. We've never really had to be scared of anything.
David Arroyo is more concerned since he works the graveyard shift.
I do sometimes come by through this area, and it's just like, again, being scared a little bit, like hearing this information. Now I'm like, I maybe I should take a different route.
The San Jose Police Department is calling on the community to report any suspicious cars or people. It's also handed out flyers to people who live in the area, and it says it's dedicating significant resources from the department to finding the shooter or shooters.
Hello and welcome to Bay Area Night Beat. I'm Veronica Dela Cruz. We're following lots of breaking news for you tonight, beginning with an earthquake out of Lake County. The moderate quake was centered in the town of Upper Lake, that's northeast of Clear Lake. It happened around 8 o'clock this morning. A small aftershock measuring 2.7 followed about 10 minutes later.
Planes and helicopters have been performing airdrops all day in hopes of getting a handle on the pilot fire. Thousands of homes are under evacuation alerts. The fire is surging in the mountains of San Bernardino National Forest near Hesperia.
Came at an intensity that nobody could have ever imagined. The small streams suddenly became rivers, and soon houses started collapsing. But it was too late for Veronica Garrido to save her children. After the storm, they were able to find the body of her 10-year-old son, but her 1-year-old baby is still missing.
My 2 kids are now dead. One we have found, but the little one we still can't find. That is why I'm asking for more help. The need to continue the search, and with more people.
Over the weekend, Hurricane Earl triggered landslides that killed at least 45 people in the Mexican states of Puebla and Veracruz. The devastation caused by the storm is enormous. The hardest hit was a poor rural town of Huachinango, located in Puebla State. On Monday, town municipal president Gabriel Lorenzo said at least 200 buildings were destroyed and 1,400 people are now seeking refuge in government-run shelters.
As you can see behind me, mudslides destroyed the homes in this poor little town in eastern Mexico this past weekend. 3 days after the tragedy, rescue crews are still looking for those reported missing, although most have given up hope to find anyone alive.
Wildfire raging on Portugal's Madeira Islands. According to officials there, at least 3 elderly people have been killed. As the fire raged for a third day on Wednesday, around 1,000 residents and tourists were evacuated. It then spread into the island's capital, Funchal. As in other southern European countries, August is the peak time for wildfires in Portugal. The fire was fueled by hot weather and strong winds. Firefighters said Madeira's steep hills and dense woodland made it hard to reach the flames. More firefighters and doctors were sent to the islands from the Portuguese mainland. The temperature and wind speed is forecast to drop this week, increasing hopes of putting out the fire.
The Spratly Island chains located in the South China Sea are claimed by China, Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Taiwan. And the reason why everybody wants their slice is because this region is
in the South China Sea, this time by an influential American think tank, the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Let's now get more from RT's Emily Sue. Hi there, Emily. Well, give us more details on this dispute.
Very rich in resources. It's also one of the busiest shipping routes in the world. Every day, over 10 million barrels of oil are being transported across the sea. And that is the reason why the territorial disputes. Well, Marina, if we take a look at the screen behind us, this may just look like a bunch of boring rocks and reefs in the middle of the sea, but they're actually located in one of the next potential global flashpoints of conflict.
Accused of fresh aggression